COVID-19, its impact on society, on the upcoming election, on the economy, our way of life, our liberty, and Bubba, now its effects on marriage and birth rates.
Rick, a lot of speculation as how all of this would affect everything. We have some of the numbers in. Divorce rates, as people were confined with their loved ones, sometimes in uncomfortable situations. Divorce rates up 34% March to June year to date.
I go back to that hilarious video that came out in March. Do you remember the guy where they're doing selection A to stay home, quarantine at home with your wife and children, and he goes B. Do you remember that? And he screams B.
Yes. Yes.
So people can find that you gotta let people breathe a little bit. And they're saying more time spent together actually produced a divorce rate.
Rick, on the birth rate side, we don't have final numbers in, or I couldn't find them yet. But the Brookings Institute has a story out that's calling it the coming COVID baby bust.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing. They're saying it's having an opposite effect.
They're saying the pandemic is going to have a monumental effect on the lack of children that will be born later this year and early next year, to the tune of 300 to 500,000 fewer births.
So what they're saying is read the divorce rate and you'll see why we're not going to have a baby boom.
Well, what they're saying is, and this is an interesting story.
If I'm mad at you, we ain't having no babies.
They said many people have speculated that there would be a spike in births in 9 months as people were stuck home with their romantic partners. Such speculation is based on the persistent myth about birth spikes occurring 9 months after blizzards, major electrical blackouts, and such as that, but it turns out those tend not to hold up to statistical examination. But COVID-19 is amounting to much more than a temporary day or two stay-at-home order. It's leading to tremendous economic loss, uncertainty, insecurity, and that will cause birth rates to tumble. They point to other times that had extended struggles like the Great Recession and the pandemic of 1918, the Spanish flu. Both saw big drops in birth rate.
There's a difference.
How about that? Right opposite.
There's a difference in my spouse has been away and now they're home, as opposed to they're home and they won't go away.
Or, Rick, we're stuck here for the night, we're stuck here for the weekend, versus you've been stuck here for 6 months. We don't know if we got a house or a job. It kind of takes the edge off romance, I think.
Bubba, I hate to go to country song or it ain't. How can I miss you if you won't leave?
Right.
And so
now that's just speculation. That's not the final numbers, but I think it's based on some good examples of what has happened.
It also goes back to the difference.
And they're saying it's a myth that we have these birth spikes after these too.
There's also a men and women equal but not same thing going on here. They touched on it in that. Men, and I'll handle this in a way that you're going to be fine out there. Don't panic. Men, husbands, let's put it in the confines of the blessings of God. Husbands can say times are bad, times are anxious, things are not going well. This will turn it around. Women are like, until everything is the way it should be,
I'm out.
You talking about makeup fruit?
Yeah, I'm just talking about just the whole. No matter how my day's gone, wives seem to say,
hold on to it a little bit.
Have a great day. I'm having a great day, which is going to be celebrated this way.
Okay, yeah.
Men will say, I've had a terrible day. Let's turn it around. Let's turn it around.
Well, Rick, let me use a.
And women are not like that. No, if I've had a bad day, there's this. No.
To use a softball analogy, a buddy of mine who had always coached his boys. Finally, it was time to coach his daughter.
Yeah, I remember.
And it was, he couldn't figure it out. He couldn't figure out how to get the girls motivated. Nothing was working, and he finally he called me. I figured it out. The girls have to feel good about themselves or be in a good mood to play good, whereas the boys have to play good to get in a good mood.
That's it.
And he goes, so basically, we made sure the girls were happy, they had what they needed, and if that was the case, they'd go out and play great. And he said, I finally figured that formula out.
Husbands,
I think there's a lot of truth to that.
Husbands,
dealing with female athletes.
No doubt about that. Yeah, you've done it, so you know the deal too. Yeah. No doubt in this room, husbands, and I know this, and I know our wives would be laughing somewhere right now, the number of times that they've listed a gloom and doom scenario, and from their husband they hear this. I tell you what, turn this around.
Now, Rick,
and they're like, how's that even on your mind? Right. I said, because it's a game changer.
Yep.
Rick, hey, I'm not feeling good. I tell you, we'll turn that around.
They're also this study is also quoting a rather lengthy study.
Watch it.
That tracked marital births in coal-producing areas. And track that versus earning changes associated with the up and downs of the coal boom and bust during the 1970s and 80s. They found that higher incomes that came from the fracking revolution led to increase in both marital and non-marital births in the affected areas. And when the coal business was drying up and going the other way, they saw a decline. So it apparently goes more with the economy than it does being held up with your romantic interest.
Yeah, and they did say you could draw a line to the absence makes the heart grow fonder if you really are truly in love with someone. Now, if they go away and it doesn't seem to bother you, then you probably realize, okay, well, wait a minute. But that I haven't been around this person in a long time, like a war or something like that, and now they're home.
Oh, I have heard so many people say, if my spouse does not go back to work very soon, something bad's going to happen here.
Amanda had texted me and said she wasn't feeling well the other day. I sent her a Marco Polo, and I said, hey, look, I said 3:30 will be here soon. You'll get to come home to Daddy.
Yeah, that's right.
Everything will be fine. Yep. She hates when I start doing stuff like that. Because she knows her friends will see the Marco Polo.
Sure. Sherry rolls her eyes when I come to the door and I said, Big Sex is in the house.
I got duped again yesterday.
What does that even mean?
That's kind of a tough follow-up to that last comment.
You know what topic we're on, right?
Yeah.
You fall asleep?
Well, she threw me off. Well,
Rick and Bubba, Rick and Bubba. Rick and Bubba.